Oh my god, it must be time to talk about specs because I'm talking to Bird Breast. So it's time to talk about those specs of the Xbox Ally X. Watch me flex, but I don't have pecs.
I just wanted some sauce on those zingers.
So the Xbox Ally X is due out mid-October, and its weaker sibling, the Xbox Ally.
Ocean water.
Do not buy that. Do not buy that. If you are going to buy that, buy a Steam Deck OLED instead. Same chip.
I just wanted some sauce on the
Crappier screen, the Xbox Ally, that is. Do not get it. Anyway, they're coming out mid-October. I'll get more into the specs of the Xbox Ally X and Xbox Ally later. And they're going to cost about, what are they saying here? $550 for my Discord to go off.
I just wanted some sauce on the
Now they're saying that the prices of the Xbox Ally is going to be about $549.99 US dollars, and the Xbox Ally is going to be around $900, which is what I expected with the Z2 Extreme chip that's going to be in there. But I got some interesting and somewhat concerning. I don't want to say disappointing. We don't have the Ally consoles in our hands yet. But there's some concerning news coming from the handsome men over at Digital Foundry about how games performed when they tried out the Xbox Ally X. And here were their results. And I am going to give a take because I have a chip with a similar integrated graphics as the Xbox Ally X on why, even though it may be a rough start for the system, I assure you that it'll be fine. The chip that's inside the Ally X anyway is plenty capable. But this summary comes from notebookcheck.net. I'll read it to you, then we'll discuss. Now, the Digital Foundry men tested Doom: The Dark Ages on the Xbox Ally X. That's the one with the more powerful APU in there. And it was 540p upscale to 1080p. They used DRS and they had FSR 3 set on performance. And they got about 50 FPS, which that checks out. I've done similar scaling. I actually use Intel XeSS with a identical GPU, and I seem to get better results than they do. But nonetheless, they went with FSR 3. Of course, this game is going to be demanding because it has ray tracing baked in. So it's going to be tougher for integrated graphics to run, but nonetheless, they got it to run at 50 FPS. But one thing this article does not say is that when they tried FrameGen, which I can verify this because I've had the same issue with the same GPU, if you turn on FrameGen with Doom: The Dark Ages, it feels like the frame rate gets cut in half and it is jittery. It does not feel like you're getting more frames. It does not feel smooth. It actually feels the exact opposite. It feels way choppier. And that's what happened on the Xbox Ally X. And that is what happens on my gaming setup with the similar GPU. Now, they also played Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I have not tried that on the AMD Ryzen AI 9 HX370. Yes, I had to read that. You heard me having to read that. It is that name, AMD. Stop it. But anyway, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 ran way crappier than Doom: The Dark Ages. I haven't tried that game. With low settings and using Unreal Engine 5's TSR, or Temporal Super Resolution, the Xbox Ally X could barely get 30 FPS. It was actually lower than that, which, yeah, man, it's beefy integrated graphics, but it's integrated graphics and it's on a new version of Windows that Microsoft is trying on these consoles that is more consoleized. So, I wish I tried that game first. It would have been interesting to see on the AI HX370, I'm just calling it that, how that game would have performed. Now, like I said, I did watch the whole clip, and they came away with, and this is very true, Microsoft has to be careful with the marketing of this. If you're expecting just to pick up an Xbox Ally and it's just like a Series S, and you're going to get an Xbox Ally X and you're going to get a Series X, it's not going to happen. It's not the same thing. Ideally, in an ideal world, it would have been nice if they kind of portabilized the Series S and if they could do it in a way that would be efficient, make the Xbox Series S portable so the games would just work on there. The Series S versions of the games would run on the handheld, but nonetheless, they worked with Asus, which I understand why Microsoft did it. Asus has been making these handhelds for a while. The ROG Ally X, which I used to own and regretfully do not own anymore, is a fantastic handheld, so I get what Microsoft is trying to do. However, these are still Windows gaming PCs with an Xbox shell to them. Like, developers are not making specific versions of games to run on these Xbox Ally consoles. It's just PC games that Microsoft says, hey, this, and they're going to have like certain check marks similar to what Valve does with the Steam Deck. If it's Steam verified, Microsoft will let you know how the game performs or if it should be even played at all on the Xbox Ally or Xbox Ally X. Now, even with the mixed results that Digital Foundry came back with, now the UI issues they were having this close to launch does concern me, but with the Xbox Ally X, from a performance perspective, once Microsoft gets the kinks worked out, as a person who's using the One X Player X1 Pro, it's a very flawed thing. You should check out my ASMR channel. I'm going to have an ASMR review of this handheld from One X Player. I can tell you that the processor inside of there that has the 890M, just like the Z2 Extreme, which is going to be in the Xbox Ally X, it's going to have the 890M graphics, which it's based on RDNA 3.5 and has 16 compute units. So the chip in the Ally X, the Xbox Ally X, and the One X Player X1 Pro, they both have the same graphics. And I can tell you that games run really good on it. It does. That has regular Windows 11. I'm not doing anything special with it. And games run great. The occasional crash here and there, but that's because of One X Player's terrible One X console software. But it's few and far between. But I get great experiences with virtually every game I try on there. I was just playing Gears of War Reloaded on high settings with FSR, I believe, set to balanced, 1920 by 1200, getting about 100 frames per second. Dying Light playing at 2560 by 1600. I couldn't really get it to scale right, so I had to play at the native resolution of the One X Player X1 Pro screen. So I put it on balanced and had it play at the highest resolution that could output, and it stayed about 40 FPS. And, granted, that's an older game, but nonetheless, integrated graphics, 2560 by 1600 is impressive. Point being is that I have a similar chip performance-wise to the Ally X, and it runs pretty much everything you throw at it, every AAA game you throw at it, pretty damn well. So if the price isn't an issue to you, and if you're willing to have Microsoft work out the kinks with their software and be patient until they get their Xbox skin to really run properly, it's going to be a hell of a console. Kind of hearing the screen isn't great. At least that's the vibe I got from Digital Foundry. But nonetheless, the Xbox Ally X, even at its $900 price point for what it's giving you, I think it's a good system. And I think what they did with Asus on that one is awesome. But now the Xbox Ally, which is literally going to have the same chip in it as the Steam Deck has. The Xbox Ally for $550 is going to be a 4-core, 8-thread Zen 2 CPU, and it has 8 compute units of RDNA 2 graphics. That's the Steam Deck's chip. Do not get that thing. Do not. I mean, Digital Foundry was talking about how they weren't thrilled with the performance of games. Again, I'm sure it's because of the skin. Like I said, I've tried the same GPU. They were complaining about the performance of games, though, with this Xbox Microsoft hybrid OS we're getting on here on the Ally X, which is a fairly beefy chip, even the iGPU. How do you think that's going to run on the Xbox Ally? Which, why they didn't call it the Ally S is beyond me. How do you think it's going to run on there? It's going to run like crap. Games are going to be unplayable. At that point, please, for the love of God, just get a Steam Deck. Get a Steam Deck OLED. Better screen. You get the Steam Deck experience. It's not just the Steam OS experience. So you'll know if a game is Steam Deck verified. And the Steam Deck OLED screen is one of the best screens I've ever seen on a handheld ever. And especially if you're into like pixel art games or 2D action games and stuff like that. Oh my God, the screen is beautiful. Don't get the Xbox Ally is my point, though. I know I'm going off on a tangent. Point being is that what you need to understand with this video, and I'll bring it home with this, and I said this in the beginning, these are not like the Series X and S. These are just computers that are going to have an Xbox skin. Keep that in mind. It's not going to be a one-to-one experience like when you turn on your Series S, you download a game, you know it's just going to work and it's going to have a performance mode or quality mode. It's not going to be the same on the Ally and the Ally X. It's not the same thing. So if you're expecting that with these, you might be disappointed. Hopefully Microsoft works out more of the software kinks before they launch, even though they're about to launch in about a little over a month. This is Rich Tomorrow signing out. Check out my ASMR channel. I have an ASMR video of Philip Paul Burnell. And this Monday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, I'm going to be having a marathon live stream on this channel. Make sure you check that out. I'll have a link to it below in the description and my ASMR channel below in the description. And I'll see you all in the next video.